it would be a lot easier to hit the bird at that close range. We had, what do we have? We had 59 pellets hit this duck. So the other thing is, if you do hit the duck, you're going to want to cook it with 59 holes in it. So again, we're looking for maintaining 3 or 4 pellet strikes on the bird. That's well more than we need. So if you were primarily shooting ducks relatively close, you'd really be limiting your opportunities with that tight, relatively tight choke and that very tight pattern. Again, we hit it with nearly 60 pellets. We only need to hit it with 3 or 4 on average. And yeah, we've got over 10 times that many. So if you turn the duck around and look at Graham's lethal shot area, it's absolutely riddled with holes. Sure, you've harvested the duck, but it's not going to be worth eating anyway. So, yep, that's far too tight a choke, in my opinion, for shooting at that close range. And again, I should hasten to add that talking about pellet counts and ballistics and shotgunning is a bit like talking about what the best waterfowling dog is or what the best rifle calibre is for shooting deer. So, no two people think alike. But anyway, this is designed just for sort of to give you a basic idea of the sort of things you should be considering when you're setting up your shotgun choke and your load for the sort of scenario you're going to be shooting in. And again, I think if you're pond shooting, you probably should start off relatively open, perhaps measure some distances on your pond pre-season, work out where you think you're doing most of your shooting and try and really target that sort of range. So for my money, and that gun with that load, that's too tight for most of the situations I'd be hunting in. With my shotgunning, I'd never hit them if they're in close, and generally that's where I can hit them, and that's where I want to be getting the ducks in close, using a reasonably open choke. So I've got a big pattern and I've got a good chance of hitting those birds where I don't have to give them 2 or 3 or 4 metres of lead. And we'll be talking to Graham Hughes later about how to establish what sort of lead using clay targets that's necessary for harvesting ducks with. So you can try and estimate where you should be aiming on the birds and how to shoot at the moving targets. So we'll probably cover that next. Right, in this section of the video we travel up to Kurau to catch up with Graham Hughes, a Fish and Game Officer in Kurau. Graham's a very keen clay target shooter and also a very keen waterfowl hunter. Graham's going to teach us how to use a shotgun properly and probably most importantly how to establish the correct lead to shoot at ducks in different scenarios. Well, what can you tell us about shooting with a shotgun, Graham, as opposed to, say, shooting with a rifle?
Okay, basically the difference is we're firing a bunch of projectiles instead of a single projectile like with the rifle. Yep. And probably the first thing that anyone will notice with a shotgun is it doesn't have any sights. Yep. We have a bead on the front. Yep. We haven't got a rear sight. Because the rear sight, of course, is the shooter's eye. And it's the way he puts his head on the stock and looks straight along the barrel, straight along this rib to line up with this, is cheeking it so that you're looking directly along the barrel to the bead. So no sights to concern yourself with, and you have to establish that if you keep moving your head backwards and forwards, your sight plane is going to change. So you don't want to be looking at too much barrel, you'll be shooting too high. You want to see the bead or you'll be shooting too low, so it's directly along there like a big ramp. The next thing you probably will establish when you're shooting with a shotgun is most of your target's going to be moving. We're shooting ducks. And it's not an aiming game, it's a pointing game. So,
okay, so how does someone learn how to mount the butt into your shoulder?
Okay, if you push around in there you'll find you've got a bit of a pocket, and that's where the butt plate should fit into that pocket between this joint here, so it's nice and comfortable, and you must have your face firmly on here. There's an old saying, head on the stock, eye on the rock. And if you haven't got your head on there, you keep changing your head around, your sight picture is going to change. Now your sight picture is the speed on or around about somewhere close to your target.
So what about your sort of foot placement and your balance, Graham? Is that important as well?
It's difficult to achieve in the field in that on a target situation like we are here, you can put your feet, you know where you're going to shoot the target and you can adjust your feet. There's an old saying, most targets are missed by 2 feet, the 2 feet you're standing on. But in a situation where you're in the field, you might be knee deep in mud, you might be in a boat, you might be in a mai, and you don't have that luxury. But the way you've placed your hide or your mai you know the general direction of the prevailing wind, and you know which way the birds are coming in, you can adjust your body so that, hey, the birds are coming from my left to my right, so I'm going to be facing more to the right than I am to the left, or vice versa. So if they're coming from your right to the left, so that you're winding through it and you're not binding, and you get to the end of your swing and you're all tied up. And so you've got to allow a bit more swingers than you would say out here on a skeet field. So it's pretty important that you've got plenty of room to move, plenty of room to swing, and you've built your hide to accommodate that swing.
Right, so I've talked about balance and guys making sure they're in a position where they can swing the gun comfortably without either hitting the edge of the mai or sort of cramping up because they can't follow the ducks around. Once you've established your sight, pictured, and you've learned how to mount the shotgun properly, how do you then sort of go to establish what's an appropriate lead on different targets?
Right. Speed of your target, of course, defines your lead. There's no doubt about that. And you've got to come from in behind as the usual way a duck hunter will see the ducks, follow the duck through, pass through the duck, swinging, painting through, and establishing a lead from the nose of the bird, not the body. Because, as you know, most shots are missed behind. Now, for a learner, it's going to be a trial and error thing. Well, we're going to kind of straighten that out here by establishing leads at different distances and different speeds. Now, most mallards will be cruising anywhere between 60, 70 kilometres an hour, which is moving along quite nicely. If you've shot at them, they're going to be moving a lot faster. If they're coming into the decoys and they've got their brakes on, they're going to be a lot slower. And that's all got to be built in. But no matter what they're doing, you've always got to get out in front. To establish a lead, you've got to be able to see the bead in relation to your target. And now we'll start talking about eyes. Now, most rifle shots will shoot with one eye closed. You've got a sight, or you've got a scope sight. With a bead, you can have both eyes open. You get good peripheral vision. You can see your gun, you can see the target, and you can work out how much lead you're going to need, which is more difficult with one eye closed. Righto, this target's going to appear out of nowhere over your head as though it's disappearing into your decoys, and usually you've got a cup of coffee in your hand. There's no forward allowance because it's a direct away shot, but it is dropping. It may look like it's going horizontal, but it is dropping pretty rapidly. So it's bead on the bird, come down and just rest it under the body of the bird like it had legs hanging down, and you want to shoot the legs off. Bang, dead bird. If you don't, or you stop the gun, you're going to shoot over the top of it every time. So, an easy shot, but one that's often missed. Now, if we have a bird coming across here and waffling around looking at decoys, and this one today is going to be going a little bit slower, you've got a lot of time, and this can be a trap, because you might put the gun on the target well out and you'll rifle it, and you'll be so deliberate you will stop your swing. So wait till it comes within range, pick up your gun, come through it, pass through it, give it that one body length, slap the trigger and keep the gun moving. It looks like it might be hanging there in the wind, but it's moving. It's moving every time, and a body length will do it.
And what distance from that target from here are you going to be?
Well, we're only going to be 20 metres out. Now that's not a difficult shot over decoys, and it's probably more ducks shot at 20 metres than there are at 40 metres. So, and it's the same with the going away shot. If we pasted it out there, it's probably only 20, 23, 24 metres. Then we'll go out to, say, a right angle crossing shots, and you will establish a lead there of at least 4 duck lengths. With the wind behind it here today, 4 and a bit, and with the wind against them, probably 3. So let's take the bird from the left to right. This wind's really whistling along today. At 35 metres, I would be giving it probably 6 to 8 duck lengths. Now that is a long way. That is probably